Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we are doing a brand new hero concept. That's right, we have a character that we are going to be doing playstyle, abilities, star cards, and a whole bunch more for, including some skins and other things as well. So if you guys are looking forward to that, make sure you leave a big thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because these videos are a lot of fun. You guys tend to love them, and if you want to see more of them, you definitely want to be subscribed and turn on all notifications for more Battlefront 2 videos in the future. Anyways, the character we are talking about today is actually a confirmed hero. It is BB-8, who is of course coming to the game in January, so I thought it would be really fun to kind of go over what I think some of his abilities could be, or what he could possibly look like in Battlefront 2. So we are going to start off with his playstyle, and we know that he is going to be a support character for the Resistance. So I'm going to start with his health, and I'm going to put him at 550. I feel like he should be lower than any other hero. Being a droid, he's not really going to be able to take too much damage, but I think his damage reduction should probably be half decent. I mean, he is made out of metal, but in saying that, you know, I think 550 is a good point, because if we start putting him up there in the health range of some of the blaster heroes and things like that, I feel like it's just a bit unbalanced. But I'll give him the opportunity to be boosted with star cards. I think that's okay, but for health right now, it's going to be 550. We know that BB-8's movement speed is going to be extremely fast, and we're going to kind of see him in about a month's time, but I don't know exactly how fast, so I've just put kind of extremely fast for him. I think he should be one of the fastest characters in the game, maybe up there with Luke, or even possibly quicker than Luke, somewhere along the lines of how quickly Maul can traverse the battlefront. But again, BB-8 is going to be rolling around the place, so he could potentially be the quickest character in the game. We don't really know just yet. On top of this, I'm going to give him full health regen ability, because he does have that low health pool of 550. I'm going to make him like Bosk, where he can regen the whole amount. I think that's a good idea, because these droid characters, they're support, you know, that's what they're there for. So I think giving them full health regen is the best way to go. The standard attack is something I thought about a few times for BB-8, and you know, there are the opportunities to make him just dash into enemies and hit them, but it's one of those more difficult things to think about. You don't see them attacking them with like a standard attack that they always go to. It's always something different, some kind of ability that they pull out when they have to defend themselves. But I think either some kind of dash that where they run into the enemy and hit them, I don't know, that could work. But at the same time, I watched The Last Jedi again, and I thought maybe a cool idea could have been that BB-8 shoots coins at enemies as one of his default attacks. So that could be potentially pretty cool. We do see him do it in The Last Jedi, and it's hilarious. But at the same time, you know, would that really work in Battlefront 2? Would the coins hit the floor after they hit the enemies? Would they just disappear? What would you do? How much damage would each coin hit? Would you have a crosshair? There's a whole bunch of things, and I think that could potentially be something cool, or you could just have him like ramming into enemies. So either way you want to do that, I think they could both potentially work, but who knows? We're going to have to wait and see what they do instead. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch on for like his playstyle is his Meli ability. Instead of using a melee, I can see BB-8 using a grappling line to propel himself forward, or to stick onto other enemies. If you guys take a look at Pathfinder from Apex, this is kind of what I'm thinking, except at a shorter range. BB-8 has this like suction cup thing that he's constantly shooting out, and you know, whether it's to grab onto something or to reach to something that he can't get, or swing himself off a platform, this kind of thing is something that's really cool, and Pathfinder does use the same sort of thing in Apex. So if you haven't seen it, I'll insert a little clip on screen so you guys can see. But I think this would be really cool instead of melee ability, just to kind of traverse yourself a little bit quicker, or if you need to get up on top of like a higher platform, for example Starkiller base. If you're playing heroes vs villains and the enemy is sitting up on top of one of the carriers, if you can get up to there with BB-8, there's really no other way of doing it. And I know the blaster heroes can't really get up there either, but it would be cool for BB-8 to just kind of stick to that and swing himself up there. So who knows, it could work, but again, this is all purely speculation. Moving forward though, let's talk about his abilities, and this is the part that everyone seems to have the most input on in the comment section. So if you guys have any other ideas for abilities, make sure you comment them down below. The first one is a thermal hyperscan vindicator. So Rey says that this is something that BB-8 has in The Force Awakens when Kylo Ren is trying to get the map out of her. He's kind of using the mind control to get her to tell him where it is, but she does mention that he has this, and I kind of see it as an improved scan which reveals not only for BB-8 where enemies are, but also for your teammates. I think it would send out kind of like a pulse similar to what the ARC Trooper has. It sends out kind of that scan pulse, but I guess guess it would work for yourself and for teammates as well. Giving teammates that little red highlighted outline of your enemies instead of actually like going into the thermal view, that would only be for BB-8, but for teammates they could potentially see like a red or a white outline like what Rey's insight does. So I think instead of making it the same as Rey's, you could probably use the red outline for BB-8. The second ability is going to be a rush attack, and this is confirmed from Dennis himself that BB-8 will have some kind of rush attack. He didn't specify whether that was going to be the default attack or the ability, but to me it definitely sounds like an ability usage. I'm going to have it locking onto one enemy similar to General Grievous's thrust surge and having a knockdown effect with it. I don't know how it would 100% be balanced, but I can see it locking on and he gets a burst of speed and charges at the enemy, knocks them to the ground, probably not doing a whole lot of damage because we know that these droid heroes, as they're being called, aren't going to do a ton of damage anyways because they are more of a support character. So that's ability number 2. Let me know how you think that could work as well. And the third ability, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do the shock because BB-8 does electrocute Finn at one point when he's laying on the ground at the start of The Force Awakens. And then he also has the little welding torch thumb thing that we all love when he does the thumbs up to Finn. So there are two options there. I don't know which one I would use, whether the shock would just like stun them briefly or the welding torch would just do flame damage like most of the fire options in Battlefront 2. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but you get what I mean. Like the flame trooper and things like that, where there is fire damage, you know, BB-8 could potentially do that and just burns over time. That would be something cool as well. And again, probably not really doing heaps of damage, but it would be more of a nuisance and kind of supporting your team as well. So I see those as ability options. And then I did have a fourth idea for an ability, but I don't know how it would work or if it would be very balanced. In The Last Jedi, BB-8 manages to hack in and steal an ATST. So if the enemy team has an ATST on the floor, I think BB-8 could potentially have a fourth ability where he can hijack this ATST and get into it and start shooting down the First Order. I think that would be sick. It would be really funny to see, but who knows? That could work, it might not, but it's definitely something we see in the movie, so why not give it a try in Battlefront 2? So those are all the abilities. Let's talk about the star cards that are going to reinforce these abilities. The first thing is BB-8. I have a star card for him where he takes less damage overall. Again, being quite a low health pool, you don't want to spend 4,000 battle points on a hero and just die immediately. So I think taking less damage overall is a good one. And Yoda has this star card as well, and it seems to be really useful for him. So I can see it working very well for BB-8. The second star card is going to be an increased duration for the thermal hyperscan. So again, that's just going to give you vision of your enemies for a little bit longer. The next one is going to be increased range for the thermal hyperscan. So you can see enemies that are further away with this scan. And then moving into some of the dash star cards, the first one is that the dash attack does more damage. Like I said before, yes, I would give it a knockdown effect, but I wouldn't give it tons of damage. So this star card gives you the opportunity to boost it up as well. The next one is going to be that you get an extra usage of the rush ability. So the cooldown is going to be longer in this situation if you have this star card equipped, but it will give you a second use of the rush ability after a quick cooldown. So maybe like you can use it once, you've got to wait 1 or 2 seconds, then you've got to use it again. And then once you've used those two usages, the recharge time would be like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, something like that. I can see it working very similar to like the rush attacks that Luke and Yoda and Maul have. This kind of thing where it's got the little counter in the bottom corner where it says 1, 2, or 3. With BB-8, again, probably only 1 or 2. So that would be pretty cool to give yourself an extra rush ability for BB-8 as well. The next one is going to be that the dash ability refreshes if an enemy is killed while using it. And again, this is one that you could potentially stack with the previous star card. If you get 2 uses of that rush ability, you then stack it with this card, and if you kill an enemy, because again, remember, it doesn't do much damage, if you manage to kill an enemy with this rush attack, you get a quick refresh of it and you can use it again right away. So another good star card there potentially for BB-8. On to the second last star card, it's going to be an increased range on the shock attack. I see the shock kind of working like Count Dooku's electrocute, but again, it's going to have to be very close range. I don't think it'll be too much of a problem being a close range ability because, you know, BB-8 is going to be so fast in the game, you'll probably be able to close the gap to enemies very quickly. And I see them working in a way that, you know, it is similar to having that little area in front of BB-8 that he can shock in the range of, because I don't think he should have to actually attach to them to electrocute them like he does with Finn. Probably give him a small area in front and give it a little bit more range with this star card. And of course, the final star card would be the increased health option like I mentioned before. I don't know if I'd probably go like 100 extra health with a purple star card card or 150, so you could potentially take him up to 650 or 700 health. Again, keeping him kind of under most of the blaster heroes in that aspect, but still giving him a good amount that he can be supportive. Maybe I'd go with 100 if he's got that full health regeneration, so that he's not like too OP. It makes it really hard to balance sometimes. If you give him the less damage overall star card, I think 100 max health is probably the best way to go. Now I'm just going to jump in here before I get into the skins and emotes and say something again about the playstyle that I forgot to mention earlier. I think BB-8 being a droid and being quite heavy, I don't think he's going to be too affected by force abilities. So, you know, if he gets pushed or pulled or anything like that, I see it working similar to the droidica, where he doesn't move too much. Maybe he could be pulled or pushed a little bit, but I don't think he should be ragdolled across the map. Yes, it would be funny to see the ball go flying and have him roll away down the map, but I think it may be just a short distance with these abilities. But I just wanted to touch on that and put that in there as well. So with that out of the way, let's get into the skins. Now, you wouldn't think there are many options. BB-8's pretty much just orange and white. So there are only 3 skin options that I did come up with myself that I can think of, but if you guys think of more, definitely let me know. The first one is going to be his default appearance, which is of course the orange and white. The second one is going to be his burnt appearance from The Last Jedi. There is, you know, a time in that movie where he has scorch marks on him, he's quite dirty. So I think that could be, you know, like a rare skin that's quite cheap that people could use. Similar to what they did with General Grievous, where he was like damaged, but not on the legendary level. So I think that could be one as well. And then the third skin option would be the First Order disguised, where BB-8 gets the black trash can put over his head while they're trying to infiltrate the First Order's base. I think that's a really cool option. It'd be something different. You know, you see BB-8 rolling around as this black trash can. It would be funny. I don't know if his abilities could work out of it, you know, with the shock and things, but you know, it's the only other kind of skin option that I could think of for BB-8. So I think it would be cool. I don't know if it would be practical and if it would work, but it's fun just to talk about and even think about. So with the skins out of the way, let's talk about a couple of emotes. And now, as a droid, BB-8 doesn't speak, so we don't know what he says, but I think there are a few emotes that could be really cool. The first one would obviously be the thumbs up flame. That would be the best emote in the game. You kill someone and you give them a thumbs up flame emote after killing them. That would be absolutely hilarious. I would want this more than anything for BB-8. Like, if I don't care what they do with the abilities, like toss all my ideas out the window, give me a thumbs up emote and I will be happy, however the playstyle works out for BB-8. The second emote is more kind of like a voice line where he just says BB-8. We do hear him say this a few times throughout The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. He actually says his own name, and that's most of the sounds that he makes when he's not just beeping. So that would be a cool one for like a voice line instead of an emote. And then the other ones are kind of just like he makes a random happy beeping sound or he makes a sad beeping sound. These are kind of things that he does throughout the movie, and they're kind of really the only option we have for emotes or voice lines. And then the last one that I had on top of these ones is the droid scream sound. So we know when BB-8 gets electrocuted inside of Poe's X-Wing while he's trying to repair it, he does scream, and a lot of the droids do have this weird like winding scream sound that they have when they get electrocuted or something happens to them. So I think this could be potentially a cool sound as well for an emote or even a voice line. Anyways guys, that is everything for this video. I hope you like the concept. BB-8 is about a month away, probably just over a month away in terms of releasing into Battlefront 2. I'm excited to see what they do. What do you guys think of the abilities and stuff that I came up with? Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any other ideas as well. But with that out of the way, I am going to get out of here. Thank you so much for the support. We are very, very close to 20,000 subscribers, so we should be there by the end of the year, which makes me extremely happy to reach that goal. So a huge shout out to all of you guys. Anyways, thank you again so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you always.
The Sith are all powerful. You are no match for me.